Hi Andy, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with me. As one of the best supporters for the Ceramics UK series, we wanted to take the time to hear your thoughts on the show, the sector, and also what exciting developments we can expect to see in the coming months or year. Perhaps if I can start by asking you to tell me a little bit about yourself, your organisation and your part in the ceramics industry.
I set up TTIP because having worked in so many industrial manufacturing companies over the years in this sector, I began to see a real gap between creating new technology and successful commercialization. And I discovered that climbing the corporate ladder via a mix of both technology and business leadership roles seemed to give me a unique perspective on understanding the real barriers that hold back business growth through new technology. Now, most businesses I've worked in are full of great people with great ideas, but I've always found that the legacy organizational structure and the risk-averse corporate culture that many companies have only serve to hold back those great ideas rather than supporting them. And the vast majority of businesses still don't seem to have end-to-end innovation processes that actively capture good ideas and manage them right through to successful commercialization. And many still work on the old-fashioned premise that innovation is just the job of the R&D department, rather than appreciating that it can only work if it's woven into the DNA of all business and leadership functions. So I've made it my purpose now to help businesses in this sector unlock their real capability to grow through innovation, because growth isn't just about new technology. Creating new technologies is just the start of a long and difficult road to successful commercialization. So I now help businesses grow. I help them transform their culture, their organization into ones that support innovation rather than hold it back. And I also help them by embedding end-to-end innovation processes within their business. And really lucky to be supported on this mission by a wonderfully diverse team of world-class talent we have spread across the globe.
Great. And obviously, you have taken part in Ceramics UK before, if I bring it round to the show a little bit there, and have been, as I've mentioned before, a great advisor and supporter of the show. What I'd be interested to know at this point is which session are you taking part in at Ceramics UK? Who else is involved, and what can attendees expect to learn from that?
Well, I'll be leading the opening keynote session, which is called Promoting Ceramics in an International Marketplace. So we're on first on the agenda. I think it's 2nd of December, 9:45 start UK time. So I'll be starting by presenting my own thoughts on the current trends and challenges for our industry. And then I'll be hosting a panel discussion with several well-known industry figures. So we have Tony Kinsella, Chief Executive of Lucidian. We have with us Laura Cohen, who's the Chief Executive of the British Ceramic Confederation. And we're also joined by Ben Melrose, who's the Technical Director for International Cylons. So you'll hear their thoughts on topics such as how important overseas markets are to current business strategies and to future plans. We'll also be talking about which geographical markets we should focus on and how those might change over the next 5 to 10 years. And we'll also discuss important lessons we've all learned from promoting products overseas, about the barriers which exist, and offering some tips on how we might overcome them.
And to bring it to very much the issues of the day, when we're looking at 2020, when we look at the global pandemic and the impacts it's had so far, how do you see the coronavirus impacting the ceramics sector, and what can we hope to learn from it about the place for ceramics in that overused term, the new normal?
Well, I think firstly, it's important to put COVID into context. My view of business is always about managing a business is about managing through one crisis after another. There's always something coming from the left field. There's always some curveball coming your way that, no matter how good your risk management processes are, could be unanticipated. So the only difference I see with this pandemic situation is that for the first time probably in all our lifetimes, we're all facing the same crisis all at the same time. Now, there's no doubt the crisis has resulted this year in a massive shift in how we actually do business. Nobody's flying around the world anymore, and we're all talking to each other digitally, and we're all buying lots of PPE. So while some sectors are on their knees, of course, others are doing well. Pharma is up, healthcare is up, packaging is up. Just think of all those Amazon boxes that appear on your doorstep every day. Now, when it comes to technical ceramics, technical ceramics is a business-to-business service industry. So, we make critical components that go in devices for other industries. So we're servicing aerospace, automotive, petrochemical, medical devices, etc., etc. So those ceramics businesses which are aligned with the more stable or growth sectors at the moment are going to be doing well. But those that are aligned with sectors which are on their knees are going to be suffering. So, if you make products for aerospace, for example, you're likely to be going through a very tough time at the moment. And I know of one global ceramics business that has closed down several of its factories because they were totally reliant on aerospace for their sales revenue. And of course, orders dried up. So as a ceramics business, you need to quickly realign your business with the more stable and growth sectors. And when you broaden that to traditional ceramics as well, you also need to consider that not every part of the world is as badly hit. EU, US, yes, we see a lot of economic doom and gloom. It's not unusual for businesses to be reporting 10, 15, 20% drop in revenue compared to last year and compared to their 2020 budget. But when you look to Asia and particularly China, there are parts which are still relatively buoyant. So you have businesses even in China that are expecting to hit their budget this year or are reporting at the most a 5% loss. So having a global outlook to your sales channels is very important during this crisis. And it's also important for all businesses, including the ceramics industry, to appreciate that the digital way of working is here to stay. Many businesses have discovered real practical value and cost savings in remote working and in managing supply chains. So, and that's true for ceramics industry as for any sector. So what the pandemic has done is accelerated the move towards digital transformation business. So every business needs to make sure that digital is part of its future business plan.
And when we look at digital breakthroughs and when we look really at innovation, where should we be looking for the most promising breakthroughs in technical or traditional ceramics innovation?
Well, for me, in my view, the strong research centers for new ceramic technologies continue to deliver. In the US, we've got exciting developments like cold sintering coming out of Penn State University, which will likely have a far-reaching implication to the industry as the technology scales. Over in the West, you have institutions like KIST in Korea, who are taking ceramic fuel cells to the next level. And in Japan, you've got the big ceramic multinational corporations working to push the performance boundaries of electroceramics to ensure that they remain an important part of all the latest electronic components in applications, things like sensors for autonomous driving, for example. And in the UK, we're seeing a number of exciting activities like the creation of the new Midlands Industrial Ceramics Group to ensure that not only is new technology emerging, but also that it will be commercialized and make a real difference to the industry.
Moving on to my final question. You attended the show last year. Obviously, it was a slightly different event, given that it was physical, and this year we're looking at a virtual event. But what was it you most enjoyed, and which aspects are you looking forward to seeing again or getting involved in again in 2020?
Well, for me, networking is always a key aspect of the show. I always enjoy reconnecting with old friends and making a few new ones, of course. So obviously it's going to be a little more challenging in a virtual format, but I do think after months of we've all been living in Zoomageddon, so I think we're all getting pretty good at building relationships online, so it shouldn't be a big barrier. Also, for me personally, there were several new business prospects that emerged and new alliances forged from the time I spent at last year's event. So for me, Ceramics UK it's an important catalyst for how my own business develops over the coming year. And in fact, the new dates in December are probably quite good timing in that respect.